First things first, restaurants, polls, revive push for drinks to go. They say it's needed to revive a threatened industry. They say it's needed to revive a threatened industry. So, I mean, it's true. Our industry is kind of in shambles at the moment. And I think everybody's picking up the pieces. At the current place I'm at, we're kind of gearing up to have sort of a somewhat normal summer, is what they're saying. They're thinking we're going to have this year. Mask mandates are dropping. More and more people are going out. So we might slowly start to see some form of normality for some restaurants. The place that I'm at got extremely lucky because they have a huge, like absolutely ginormous outdoor like patio. So they saw business the entire time. But a lot of places don't have that. Restaurateurs, bar owners, and their supporters, aided by state legislators, are renewing their push to make drinks to go a measure established by executive order in 2020, permanent under state law. And drinks to go in quotes, I believe they mean alcoholic beverages. I think there are places that have this in place already, where you can get cocktails and stuff to go. It is a little weird. I think they have it in my state. And I believe the delivery driver has to check ID at the door. I don't know how that works because they do contactless delivery now, so I'm not quite sure how they work that out now. But I know that they have some like sealed canned cocktails, which is pretty interesting. I thought about ordering some, but they're always like way expensive. It's insane. But also to produce and then bottle a cocktail, that requires, a rig and bottles. So it makes sense why the cost is up there. The only pain in the ass part was the end with Savathun. I hate Savathun. Yeah. Yeah, it does. It's always like really hectic and kind of annoying. And it seems almost sort of silly, especially having her pop up more than once. So let's see. Under drinks to go, restaurant can deliver or make available for takeout an alcoholic drink along with food. Something not allowed before the COVID-19 pandemic, except for beer. Owners, most of whom are in debt, say the money derived from offering drinks to go is essential for their recovery. The measure has been strongly supported by Governor Kathy Hochul. I'm not sure what state this is in. So I like I said, there are some states that already offer this. Let's see. This is what kept people afloat during those dark months and years of the pandemic. However, it was dropped from a package of recovery bills earlier this month in Albany. Advocates hope they can resurrect the bill and pass it as part of the next New York state budget within the next few weeks. The bill's sponsor in the assembly is Assembly member Stephen Simboritz. In the Senate is Leroy Comrie. You have to remember, Simbrowitz told the Eagle that at the time, when the governor issued his original executive order, the restaurants were open only for takeout and delivery. We are looking to do something that would increase recovery for restaurant revenue. For example, a Mexican restaurant could give a margarita with a takeout order, and an Italian restaurant could give a glass of Chianti. It's definitely like an extra avenue to gain some revenue for restaurants. I would be interested to see what like the percent of sale increase they would see from it, because again, like the few places that I know of around here that offer it through apps, it's expensive. So again, it kind of makes sense, because like the few that I looked at were bottled. But I mean, if you're going into a bar and just getting it in like a plastic to-go cup, I think you're running the risk too of just like people drinking it on the drive home. So they've got to really have it secured to make it I think to combat that, and to dissuade anybody from just being like, well, I've got it already in a cup with a straw. So I think that's one thing to look at and for them to think about too, is, you know, having very easily accessible high alcohol drinks. Okay, where are we? One reason some people objected, Simmerit said, is that although the order had a proviso that you had to order food to get drinks to go, many people were just ordering small amounts of peanuts or chips to get around the law, then hanging out outside the bar or restaurant until all hours of the night. I guess that, I mean, that's kind of like, I can't highlight this article and I don't like it. That that's not even a problem that crossed my mind. I guess that's on the restaurants to shoo people away. But that also means that, like, they're going in and ordering over and over again. Like, because how long are they really hanging out there for? You know what I mean? Like, at some point, they're going to recognize the person ordering and they can just cut them off. It's not like they're just walking in and out of the restaurant over and over again, are they? Like, this seems kind of silly. Like, I could see people hanging out outside to drink their drinks, but I don't see people hanging out outside of a bar or restaurant all night with their, you know, one takeout drink. In July 2020, the measure was amended, and customers who wanted drinks to go now had to order more substantial food. Still, this image, he added, was exploited by the liquor store industry, which opposes the measure. Simperit said his bill contains a proviso that restaurant patrons couldn't buy a full bottle of an alcoholic beverage for pickup or delivery. What? Something that would protect liquor stores. Even so, he said the liquor store industry was using as many scare tactics as possible. Couldn't buy a full bottle? You could buy full bottles? Like, that seems a little over the top. Angela Terry, owner of Therapy Wine Bar at 26 Malcolm Boulevard in Bedford, I don't even know, which opened in November 2021, said, drinks to go will give me another revenue stream to make up the bottom line since there was so much that was lost. Without it, you might have a ticket that's $30, but with it, it's now $50. So I think this will help a lot of these kind of places too that are like wine bars and other bars. They don't make a lot of money in food. Most of the revenue is from drinks. And I could definitely see a lot of those places really struggling. And I'm sure that maybe they've had to up their food programs a little bit to kind of help make up for it. Terry, who is also a board member of the New York City Hospitality Alliance, which represents the city's restaurant and nightlife industry, added that, in her opinion, drinks to go won't damage liquor store sales. Drinks to go is more about your own signature cocktails. It lends itself to more creativity, expanding sales and increasing visibility. In liquor store, you're buying straight spirits or wine. Yeah, I don't really understand this either. Like, I'm not replacing my liquor store purchases with cocktails. You know what I mean? Like, I'm probably a bad example because I really don't drink that much. But I feel like these are two very different markets almost. And either way, if restaurants and bars, well, I guess they don't really buy from liquor stores, they buy from purveyors, so it's a little different. But I don't really see them taking away that much from the liquor stores. This is also a good point. It is more about your signature cocktail because they're not going to be able to offer, like, I mean, now that a lot of places are more in full service, they can offer a lot more options to go. But like when it was strictly to go only, you aren't going to offer your entire bar menu with all kinds of cocktails on it. You're going to have your like 4 or 5 signature cocktails. So again, I don't really think that they're going to be taking from the liquor store sales like the liquor stores think they are. Terry is also a board member of the New York City Hospitality Alliance, which represents the city restaurant. Okay, drinks to go is more about. Robert Bookman, counsel to the above-named NYC Hospitality Alliance, said that everyone likes you to think that COVID is over, but it isn't for the restaurant industry. They're deeply in debt, and 2/3 of those who applied for federal bailout were shut out. This is true. From my understanding, it was hard to get the bailout money. Anyway, so yeah, so I don't have a ton of information on this because I didn't have to, like, I don't own a restaurant. I didn't have to apply for it. But from just hearing from other owners, from talking to other owners, and from just seeing from an owner of the restaurant that I used to work at, uh, they were really hard to get, and a lot of restaurants are already in debt. So adding on to more payments that they need to make, it's really tough unless they already have money, in which case they don't really need the bailout. Um, so, so yeah, they're nowhere near back to normal. It's true. It's pretty uncertain right now. Like I said, we are personally gearing up for a busy summer. The owner thinks it's going to go back to normal. I don't really know if it will. I like, are people going to go buck wild? Because now that the masks are gone, I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, it's over. But like, is it really? And also, since the pandemic, like, restaurants are changed. Like, it's going to be changed forever. A lot of us, we were deemed essential workers, right? And I think that woke up a lot of the workforce, the restaurant workforce, where a lot of people were like, hey, if I had to work through that, like, I deserve better pay and benefits and health insurance, or else I don't want to do this anymore. So, like, I have a lot of friends and a lot of people, like acquaintances, and a lot of people that I've worked with in the past that just aren't, they left the industry. They've left it for something else, or something that's still in the food industry, but it's not working in restaurants. It's working in places like Whole Foods and stuff like that, where it's an established chain that has benefits and a good work-life balance. And so a lot of, small restaurants and stuff are really struggling to find employees because nobody wants to do it anymore, especially for what a lot of people are paying. It's not worth it. There is still definitely a workforce, but it is smaller. And I feel like I've seen a lot of local places, their pay rates are going up, because they're like, oh man, we gotta pay these guys more. Dang it. But yeah. And yeah, like Penny mentioned, the supply chain stuff, that's not gonna go away for a really long time. I knew this was gonna happen too, because what happened was, like, restaurants shut down. Hold on, I'm trying to figure out my calendar. Restaurants shut down, and like, we order from purveyors who order, bring stuff in from farms. So like, we shut down and started ordering less. So they started bringing in less. So the farmer started producing less, or just went out of business, or switched sort of kind of what they were doing. And then when we all opened again, it was sort of a trickle effect, right? Like, oh, we now need some stuff. And then the purveyor's like, oh, we don't have stuff. We'll have to order it. And the farmer's like, hey, yo, we got to grow it. So it's sort of like a trickle effect. And, the agriculture company got hit hard. And, meat prices are so high just because, like, it takes a lot of money to feed that many animals. And a lot of crops, and a lot of places, people weren't able to do that anymore. They weren't able to bring it in because they didn't have the revenue to do it. So that there's less meat to go around, driving up the price. But also just animals do have to eat. I know, it's crazy. And also there's just like the layoffs and stuff, and trying to get rehired, and like, our purveyors are having a hard time finding people to deliver stuff. Like, they don't have enough delivery drivers, and there's a lot of stuff going on. There's some stuff going on in Ukraine that we're not going to really get into, but whenever I look for articles, it's a plethora of articles talking about how that's affecting certain supply related issues, and we're not going to really get into it, but there's all kinds of stuff going on right now that is not helping that, and it definitely is becoming more challenging trying to get that stuff in. You know, there are some ways to kind of combat it, which is like you can work with local farmers to bring in what they're growing right now, but not everybody can do that or has the option to. You know, so you kind of just have to work with what you got. And sometimes that means, you know, you're missing stuff from the menu, or you're having to, you know, just bringing something else in, just be like, I need another vegetable. What can I get today? And you go run down to a market or whatever and pick it up, and that's what you got. So it's kind of, it's definitely challenging. And yeah, the supply chain issue is going to be there for a while, I think. And I'm assuming it's also hitting grocery stores. I mean, I know it is because there's stuff that I can't get in through our purveyors, so I've gone to stores to find it. Like, one of the big ones right now is apple cider vinegar for some reason. Also, there was just one weekend where I could not find salt. So, yeah, we're gonna continue to see that with certain products, and hopefully that kind of will eventually sort of right itself. And we'll see, though. I mean, really, only time will tell. But yeah. So yeah, alcoholic beverages to go. I think it would be a great revenue source. I'm really curious to kind of see what the numbers are, and kind of see what boost to sales it is. But you know, they're right. Somewhere down here it said, you know, you'll see a $30 tab. But with you know, drinks, it can go up to 50, and that's it. It's true, and you can make a pretty good profit off of the drinks, because people are willing to pay money for a really good cocktail. So there you have it. Very cool. Again, like my state, we have this already. I've never ordered alcohol to go because I don't really drink that much anymore. Thought about it, but again, it's a little too pricey for me. And I'd rather just kind of go get my own liquor and make my own drink. To be honest, it seems cheaper. So that's why I don't really understand why the liquor stores were super afraid of losing a lot of business, because it's a little cheaper.